What is going on, guys? Welcome to Matt Talks United. In case you guys haven't seen me before, I'm Matt. I'm a co-host on Rangers Central and Met Central, those two channels and podcasts. And gonna do a little something different this year. You know, I I converted my main channel over to a Rangers channel, Matt Talks Rangers. If you guys want to check it out, I haven't uploaded anything, but I will be uploading and covering the Rangers once the season starts in October and once the preseason starts in September. But I'm also a Man United fan, in case any of you guys haven't known. And I'm starting this channel because I want to talk all things Man United here on YouTube and on this channel. So yeah, gonna be covering United on the channel. Gonna be breaking down games, reviewing games, talking about potential transfers, and yeah, gonna be excited about the new upcoming season. So yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, United and City today. They played the Community Shield game at Wembley, and look, United lost 7-6 on penalties. The game they drew 1-1 after full time, and look, obviously, whenever you play Manchester City, it's always a Manchester derby. You always want to beat your local rivals. But look, am I totally bothered about losing this game? No, I mean, like I said before, you want to beat City because that's your local rival. But listen, at the end of the day, it's Community Shield. It's it's a trophy, but it's really not a trophy at the end of the day. I mean, it's a charity match at the end of the day. So would have liked to have the Community Shield, but at the end of the day, it's not the be all and end all. We want to win bigger trophies this year. You know, look, I would hope we could somehow win the Premier League. It's not going to happen probably, but listen, United are in plenty of cup competitions this year, and Europa League, FA Cup, League Cup. You got to take advantage of those wins trophies, especially the last 2 years. United have won two trophies in the last 2 years with the FA Cup and League Cup, so no excuse as to why United can't win a trophy this upcoming year. But yeah, just going back to the actual game itself. Look, if we're gonna break it down, I'd say this game was almost an exact carbon copy of the FA Cup final that we saw in May. Listen, for the start of the game in the first half, United were basically just sitting back. They were sitting back and they let City have all the ball. And look, which is expected. City is the much better team than United, and if United try to go toe to toe with City, like they're gonna get cut open and they're gonna get killed. So United had to sit back and soak up pressure and just try to stifle City as best they can. And to be fair to United, similar to like what happened in the FA Cup final, they did a pretty good job of that in the first half. I mean, look, the defensive shape was pretty good. We stifled City. We didn't really let them create any chances. I mean, the only really big chance City was able to create in the first half wasn't even based off their attacks. It was just a bit. It was a bad mistake by Lisandro Martinez. He was playing at left back in the first half. United were trying to play the ball from the back, which they were terrible at in the first half. They could not play the ball out of the back effectively at all in that first half. But he tried to try to play out from the back end. Just a bad mistake by Lisandro Martinez. It ended up being a turnover. I forgot who shot it, but it went off the post. And really, like, other than that, City didn't have anything other than that. And going forward, United were not good in that first half. Not at all. I mean, like I mentioned before, they couldn't play off on the back at all. They were struggling. They couldn't break through City's press. And I think the biggest reason why United really had trouble going forward in that first half was just because of the personnel they had on the field. I mean, you take a look at the lineup. United didn't have a recognized striker on the pitch this game. You had Bruno Fernandes as your false nine, and you had Mason Mount playing as behind them. And look, I have nothing against Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount. I'm sure they are nice guys in real life, but as footballers for Manchester United, if United want to progress and get back to where they were under the Fergie days in the '90s and the early 2000s and early 2010s as well, those two eventually will have to be shifted out because, well, they'll have to be shifted out eventually because you cannot play attacking and possession style football with those two in your team. They are just not press resistant enough, and they can every time they receive the ball, there's like a panic, and they just want to get rid of the ball as soon as possible. And in a possession based style, like we've seen with Pep over the years with City, it's all about just keeping the ball and being calm on the possession and being able to be press resistant. And those two aren't. I mean, every time the ball gets knocked up to them, it's just they boot it along, boot it along, boot it along because they don't have the technical ability as footballers to be able to pick up the ball, trap it, and carry it upfield to try to, or carry it up the pitch to create something. And yeah, obviously United do have Xerxes, and he didn't play obviously because he came in. Well, he came in late June, early July. Obviously, United bought him from Bologna, but he didn't go on preseason tour with them to the U.S. and he was basically just training by himself at Carrington with the rest of the guys who went to the Euros and came back a bit later. But I don't know if he'll start the first game of the season against Fulham, but I do expect Xerxes, to be starting week in and week out, especially for the first 6 weeks of the season where Rasmus Holland is also injured. So pretty much Xerxes is our only out and out striker that he's going to be available. And like what Xerxes is going to do is, he's going to be able to come collect the ball and distribute to the wingers, because pretty much where United's goal scoring is going to come from, it's going to be from the wingers and from the 10 position. So Xerxes can chip in from a couple goals, but that's not really his game style. He's just more of a false nine distributor type, similar to like what a Roberto Firmino was for Liverpool. During their run with Jurgen Klopp. So yeah, but going back to the actual game, like I mentioned, in the first half, the shape of United was good. Every time City had the ball, United would go into a 4-3-3, and they were just doing a good job of stifling City, like I mentioned before. And every time they went to go press, they set up in a 4-2-4. So obviously you had the back line, you had Bruno and Mount up there with Rashford and Ahmed on the wings, and you had Kobe and Casemiro in the midfield. But then, really going into the second half, that's when you really start to see United be a bit better. They started going forward. They started creating a bit more chances, but similar to what we saw in the Liverpool game, in the preseason game where United played Liverpool, United had chances, but they couldn't finish them. I mean, let's get on to Marcus Rashford. I mean, listen, Rashford's been here for a while now. He obviously broke through in late in the 2016 season, and listen, I got nothing against Rashford. I personally like the kid, but as just a footballer, I'm not sure if he's going to be good enough for United. I mean, look, he does have his purple patches where he goes through insane long scoring stretches, but there's just too many times where he'll go through a hot stretch and then he'll just disappear. And look, Rashford is a footballer. He's not the greatest either. I mean, his technical ability isn't great. You see him a lot of the times. He picks up the ball, head down, running into blind alleys and running into a wall of guys. You know, listen, like I mentioned, he scores goals, but if he's not scoring, he's not really contributing anything else to the team. He doesn't really track back. He's not great not a great defender either. Yeah, so while Rashford probably is going to play this year because they're obviously not going to sell him and he's not going to sit on the bench, he will start. But this is really his make or break year, and obviously Ineos is watching with the new with the new backroom staff with Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada. They're going to be watching these guys closely, and if they're seeing that they're not kicking on, well, then next summer you will be on the chopping block and you will be sold for profit. And obviously Rashford will be sold for profit because he came to the academy, so United didn't pay anything for him. But talking about just other guys, Ahmad, I thought he was pretty good. He eventually would come off. Kobe, it was his first game for United. Obviously, he came back from the Euros late because he went all the way to the final with England. So he really didn't have any match fitness at all. He was just training at Carrington. So I expect Kobe to be better, but he was all right. Casemiro actually had a solid game for United today. Earlier on in the game, it did look like he got caught on the ball a couple times, but second half he really came alive. Couple nice passes, couple nice breakups in play. And look, Casemiro does look a lot better when the team is much more, stagnated and they're much more closer together. Not like last year where we saw Casemiro really struggle, where he was all by himself as a lone six, and you had six other guys pushing up the pitch to try to go press and attack. That's not going to work for Casemiro. He is older. I mean, like, he's not that old. He is 31, but his legs are not the same as they were before. But if you just play in a much more compact system, you will get the best out of Casemiro, because Casemiro is still a very good footballer at the end of the day. But then the back line, Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, I guess they were all right. I mean, look, some of them will have to play at the start of the season. Obviously, with Lenny Euro going down with an injury in preseason, United thankfully did get him Mateus de Ligt, which we will talk about in another video. Him and the Mesraoui deal were confirmed before this game. Delo, similar to him, he came back a little bit late. He was all right today. Lissandro Martinez, he was decent. I thought obviously he started the game as left back, but I thought, later on in the game, especially in the second half, once he moved into the center back position, I thought he looked a lot better. And Onana today really didn't have much to do. Obviously, he saved the penalty. He saved Bernardo Silva's penalty. But other than that, he really didn't have much to do. Had a couple nice distributions from the back. Yeah, I thought Onana was pretty much, solid. Obviously, the goal came from, Casemiro. He was able to, sorry, they were able to move the ball off the pitch. I think Casemiro got over to Bruno, and Bruno played it up to Garnacho. He came in and put the ball in the net. So, listen, for Garnacho, listen, my opinion on Garnacho is I don't think he's good enough to be starting for Man United week in, week out. And I don't think he'll ever be at that level either. I just don't think he has the technical ability as a footballer to ever reach that level. But look, if he's going to come off the bench and be an impact sub like pretty much every game and be able to run at tired defenders and be able to score goals like that, then yeah, listen, I'm all than welcome for Garnacho to just be a bench player. And look, you need those type of guys. You need role players on your team. And if Garnacho can just be that, then listen, he can be effective. But as a starter, no, not for me. And then look, City's goal where they tied it up late, a bit unfortunate. Oscar Bobby made a nice move. He was able to detach himself from Lissandro Martinez, and he put a cross into the box for Bernardo Silva. And look, Facundo Pellistri, he came on as a sub. He came on as a sub for the towards the end of the second half, and he was playing right back. And listen, that's not his position. He's a winger, and just not good defensively on that. Listen, I'm not going to blame him because, like I said, it's not his position. But Bernardo Silva was able to get it and head it into the tie 1-1. And look, they went to penalties, and Onana made the one save on Bernardo Silva. Sancho missed the penalty. Then Johnny Evans hit the ball over the bar, and then I forgot who scored City's winning goal. But yeah, they City won the Community Shield, and look, like I mentioned at the start of the video, not bothered because it's the Community Shield at the end of the day. It's not a major trophy, and I mean, listen, I wanted to beat City, but listen, go beat them in the Premier League. That's all I gotta say. Go beat them in the Premier League. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Turn on notifications as well. So just to let you know, anytime I upload a video or potentially go live on the channel. But yeah, after this video, make sure you guys watch out because I'm going to be posting a video about the de Ligt and Mesraoui deal being confirmed to United, as well as United selling Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So yeah, hope you guys like the video and comment as well. Make sure any suggestions here on the channel. And yeah, guys, see you later. Glory, Man United.